Good morning, I'm Angelo Castro III.
I'm Angela, and we are the Castros.
We bring you the news.
And the views that make you think.
Sometimes we agree.
Sometimes we don't.
This is News and Views. The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has resumed its hearing into alleged anomalies in the government's flood control projects. More contractors and public officials were invited to testify. Let's watch this.
At ito po, Your Honor, buti na lang naagapan to kasi po hanggang ngayon hindi po rini-release yan. Kasi nung natuklasan na ganyan, nakakapagduda, hindi po rini-release. Your Honor, pwede po ako magtanong kay Yusek Cathy. Meron lang akong gusto i-clarify, Your Honor.
Please proceed.
Yusek, di ba ginagawa ito short of award, di ba po?
Yes, sir. Kapag na lumabas na po yung GAA, pwede na po silang mag-advance procurement short of award hanggang ma-download po yung pondo sa implementing office.
Okay. Yusek Cathy, kung yan po ay short of award, ibig sabihin meron na yung lowest calculated bid. Tama po?
I'm not very familiar
Yes,
with
most
procurement.
probably.
Most probably.
Hindi, ganito lang po,
Point of
Your
order,
Honor.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
With all due respect, Mr. Chair, point of order po.
What is the point of order?
Just to remind all of us, Mr. Chair, na the resource person, if wanting to field a question to another resource person, must do it only through the chair po. Hindi sila pwedeng diretsyong
Pinayagan ko naman po,
magtanungan.
kaya para maka-economize ng time, kaya
Alright,
total
Mr.
magkatabi
Chair,
naman
I
sila.
submit.
Opo. Thank you. Thank you for
I'm sorry.
doing it.
Most
I'm sorry.
probably, Your Honor.
Your Honor, pwede bang malaman kay Yusek Cathy kung, hindi, pwede na lang po ganito, Your Honor. Pwede pong hingi na lang kay Yusek Cathy i-check kung meron na po itong lowest calculated bid short of award at kung merong lowest calculated bid short of award, isubmit po sa committee ninyo kung natuloy yung bidding, kung sino po yung most probably na mananalo kasi siya po yung lowest calculated bid. Sa tingin ko mo napakahalaga yun para sa inyong committee, Your Honor.
Thank you, Rep. Toby. I think that is in order. Yusek Cathy, I think you should
Yes, Your Honor.
submit to the committee kung alin na dito yung binabanggit ni Rep. Toby na nagkaroon na ng, what is your term?
Bidding short of award.
Bidding short of award. Para malaman po natin at mabantayan na. Can you do that, Yusek Cathy?
Yes, Your Honor. We will direct all the implementing offices, whether it's regional office or district engineering office, to submit all the bidding documents of these projects that are bidded out short of award, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you for your cooperation.
Your Honor, ang request ko po, kung pwede, kung papayagan po ng committee, bibigyan ko po si Yusek Cathy nito para ilagay na niya. Hindi naman po kailangan po siguro ng committee, Your Honor, yung buong records. Kailangan lang ilagay kung sino yung posibleng mananalo kung natuloy po.
Yes, I think that is in order. Kung pwedeng maibigay nyo na rin ang kopya kay Secretary Yusek Cathy.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. That's all.
Chair, pwedeng humirit.
Yes, Senator Amy.
Maraming salamat, Chair. Palibasa natututo tayo ng wika ng Kongreso. May sagasa pala, may parking pala. Ano naman yung allocable at non-allocable? Lagi kong naririnig sa Kongreso, hindi ko maintindihan.
To whom are you directing the question, Senator
Kung
Amy?
maaari kay Congressman Toby, kasi naririnig ko, kung meron sila allocable, yung non-allocable, wala sila. Paano ba yun?
Your Honor, hindi ko po alam yung allocable at non-allocable kasi importante lang. Pag lumabas po yung NEP, ang titignan ko po lang po doon is yung total NEP. Hindi ko na po tinitignan ko ano po yung allocable tsaka non-allocable. Baka po si Yusek Cathy po ang nakakaalam, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Chair, mukhang alam ni Yusek Cathy.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, let me explain. Yung not allocable, yun po yung hindi naman part ng district allocation. Ito po yung mga big ticket projects like foreign assisted na hindi naman po bumababa sa district maintenance fund, equipment fund, preliminary and district engineering fund, right-of-way fund. Yun pong district allocable, yun po yung based on, a parametric formula that the Secretary Bonoan has instructed to prepare at least to determine more or less ano po yung ceiling ng budget kada distrito, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
So, sa pagtingin ng district, halimbawa yung district engineer, Yung sinasabing allocable, yung kanya na ibibid.
Tama po,
ba
Your
yun?
Honor.
Tapos yung non-allocable,
Opo.
madalas napupunta sa region o di kaya sa central office. Ganun ba yun?
Your Honor, most probably, Your Honor, yes. Hindi po part ng district office yung non-allocable.
Okay, thank you.
Rep. Toby, siguro doon sa parada at saka sa gasa, doon sa parada malaman natin magkano yung parking fee siguro para sa kaalaman din ng committee. Doon sa sagasa, ano kaya yung ginamit na pang sagasa? Pison kaya o train o kung paano? Kasi kailangang malaman din natin.
Your Honor, hindi po ako sumasama sa mga usapang parking, so hindi ko po
Opo, alam po namin yun. Baka lang
alam ko po, hindi po ako pumapasok
sa pagsisiyasat ninyo ay makatulong naman kung ilan yung mga parking fees po. Sapagkat sinusuri na rin po ito, kaugnay din ng pagtukoy natin sa maanumalyang mga flood control projects.
Your Honor, pasensya na po. It's baka third-hand information, chismis eh. So, ayoko naman magsabi ng chismis kung hindi naman yung mismong naparadahan ang magsasabi sa akin na siya'y naparadahan ng ganun.
Salamat po.
Mr. Chair, may itatanong lang ako doon sa bid short of award. Kasi nalilito ako. Ang pagkaalam ko po kasi, only projects that are included in the NEP can undergo pre-procurement. Bakit ito sinasabi na pati yung initiatives, insertions in the small committee and the BICAM also undergo pre-procurement bidding short of award? Di ba bawal yun? Akala ko yung NEP lang.
Madam Chair, if I
Yes
may.
po, ayun.
Yes po. Ano po yan, nasa rule po ng New Government Procurement Act. Ang pwede lang pong i-early procurement. Hindi ko po alam yung term nila na short of
bid
award.
short of award,
Ang
yeah.
meron po tayong term is early procurement
Early-
activities. Ang
So
ibig
yung
sabihin po
early
nun,
procurement,
ito
iba
po,
pa yun sa pre-procurement
yeah,
pa?
ito po yung pwedeng ipabid pag nasa National Expenditure Program na. Pero pag nasa BICAM po at saka sa hindi na po kasi nagbago na po yung mga numero eh.
Kaya nga, so,
Magkaiba po 'yon.
so yun na nga, yun ang tinatanong ko.
Yes,
We're
ma'am.
talking about the same thing.
Opo.
So yun ang
Mali lang
tinatanong
po
ko.
siguro yung pagkakagamit ng term ni Yusek Cathy.
Yung kanina, yung kay Yusek, hindi maaring i-pre-procurement o i-early procurement o i-bid short of award kapag hindi kasama sa NEP. Hindi ba ganun yun?
Yes po.
Dapat,
Section
yung mga
21 po.
Yung mga insertions, congressional initiatives, lahat yan, walang pre-procurement.
Wala po.
So walang aregluhan sa kontratista.
Wala po. Ang
walang
early
down payment o mobilization fund.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, magkaliwanagan
Opo.
lang
Yun po,
tayo.
early procurement po, Section 21 of the New Government Procurement Act.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
that went through the Senate. Thank you.
Opo.
Point
So
of
I
order,
think that
Mr.
is
Chair.
very clear.
Mr. Chair.
Nasa bagong na yan, new Government Procurement RA 12009.
Mr. Chair, point of order, Mr. Chair. I
Yes.
just want to know what is the process of the other colleagues having their time questioning. Kasi kung hindi, wala eh. Kahit na sino sumingit, sorry, it's okay. Kahit na sino
Sige.
sumingit-singit, ito kanina pa, more than half an hour na siya, hindi pa siya nakapagsalita. Siguro naman bigyan natin ng allocation each senators ng time limit o 10 minutes. Kasi kung hindi, kanya-kanya tayo, sabog-sabog tayo. Yun lang po yung aking pananaw, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much for the point of order. Any more member of the committee who wish to ask questions to Representative Toby?
Di ba dapat first come, first serve, Mr. Chair? Marami ata.
Yun nga po, kung merong gustong magtanong, kailangan mag-express na po para
Mr. Chair, right here.
Senator Erwin.
Yes, I have a couple of questions for Congressman Toby. Kung sa ating budget process, Mr. Chair, una ang committee amendments, and then individual amendments, and then kasunod po, supposedly after the second reading approval, no more changes. Tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you state before this committee, Mr. Chair, what really happens in reality? Yung totoo. Mukhang hindi naman po nasusunod ito. What's going on? Can you walk us through para maintindihan po ng mga nandito, yung mga nanonood sa atin, what's going on? Kasi dito pumapasok yung mga insertion, nakatakot-takot, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Your Honor, una po, tatanggapin po ng House of Representatives yung National Expenditure Program. Yun po ang proposal ng budget po ng Executive Branch. Pagkatapos po nun, magkakaroon po ng budget briefings at magkakaroon po ng budget hearings. Okay? doon sa mga budget briefings at budget hearings na yon, Your Honor, ang mga cabinet secretary po ang natatanong ng mga congressman. Pagkatapos po niyan, mapupunta po yan sa plenaryo. At magkakaroon ng sponsorship at magsusponsor yung iba't ibang mga authors, no? Ng iba-ibang mga sponsor ng iba't ibang department. Doon po, hindi na po pwede magsalita ang cabinet secretary, congressman na po. Pagkatapos po, magdedebate. Yan po yung sinasabi ni congressman ng ating chairman na magdedebate po. Halos 2 buwan po yan. Inaabot ng gabi, magdedebate po. Pagkatapos po niyan, pag natapos yung debate, isasara po ang period of interpellation and debate. Pagkatapos po, bubuksan po yung period of committee amendments. Doon po, magsasabi po yung committee ng mga amenda. For example po, yung departamento, yung let's say yung executive branch, may nakita silang dapat na institutional amendments. Doon po yun sa sinasabi sa period of committee amendments. Pagkatapos pong maisara yung period of committee amendments, bubuksan na po ang period of individual amendments. Pagkatapos pong isara yung period of individual amendments, ay magboboto na po on second reading. At tapos third reading. Yan po ay sa normal, sa lahat po ng batas. Ngayon, pagdating po sa budget, iba po yung proseso doon sa House of Representatives because ang laging sinasabi doon, kulang yung oras, di ba po? So, pagkatapos po ng committee amendments, bubuksan po yung period of individual amendments. Tapos po, magmo-motion po ang majority leader lagi na sasabihin po na magfo-form ng small committee to accept the individual amendments of the members after the approval of second reading. So ang mangyayari po, aaprubahan natin on second reading, tapos tsaka palang mabubuhay yung small committee na tatanggapin yung individual amendments. Tapos yun po yung sinasabi ni Honorable Chairman na pagkatapos natin magdebate, dito lang sa budget, kaisa-isang bill na may small committee na siyang tatanggap at siya ang magdidesisyon. Walang magagawa kahit sino kasi hindi naman po kami kasama. Your Honor, doon sa talakayan na yon, sila po magde-decide. Tapos pagbalik po namin at makikita po namin yung printed copy, wala na kami magagawa kasi sa third reading po ang botohan lang doon, ang papalitan lang, wrong spelling, comma, period. So magugulat kayo minsan, nadagdagan to, nabawasan to, hindi naman napag-usapan sa plenaryo at yun po yung desisyon ng small committee. Kaya po hiningi ko po yung committee report ng small committee na wala naman pong maibigay.
So, ibig sabihin, Mr. Chair, walang magagawa. I mean, pag katulad ng isang district congressman, nakita niya lumobo yung kanyang budget sa kanyang distrito, wala ho siya magagawa. Hindi ho siya pwede magreklamo na hindi naman sa akin ito. Sobra yata, may nag-parking dito, may sumagasa rito. He can't do that, Mr. Chair.
Wala na po. Wala na po siyang magagawa kasi yun na po. Ang next chance po nun, sa BICAM. Di ba po? Pero aminin natin, no, kung wala namang kalokohan yung project, Mr. Chair, sino namang congressman ang hindi magpapasalamat na dadagdagan yung distrito mo ng proyekto? Hindi, ibig sabihin, for example, let's assume hindi po nagkaroon wala pong natuklasang kalokohan dito wag na natin sabihin kalokohan. Wag po natin hindi po nagka-problema yung 2 distrito ng Mindoro. I'm sure tuwan-tuwa yung congressman kasi masasabi niya sa constituents, ang dami kong napagawa. Kahit hindi naman siya yung nagpagawa nun. Kaya lang ngayon siguro nagkakaroon ng tanggihan, kasi hindi naman siya yun, tapos siya masisisi. But in the normal course of things, sino naman ang tatanggi na madagdagan yung distrito mo? Lahat naman kaming congressman, ang gusto namin, mas maraming proyekto sa aming lugar. Di po? Natural course of things yan. But before I proceed, Your Honor, kasi po, pagkatapos ko magsalita, ako na yung binabatikos ngayon. So let me put on record na this is not the first time I questioned the budget process. Pwede po nilang tignan yung archives. In the year 2011, for the 2012 HGAB, independent rin po ako doon, question ko na yung budget process. In the year 2013, for the 2014 HGAB, question ko na rin yung budget process. In the year 2014, for the 2015 HGAB, kung matatandaan niyo po, ako po yung humingi ng kopya ng DAP, Development Assistance Program. Kaya nag-away po kami sa plenaryo. So yung mga nagsasabi ngayon lang po ako nag-question, hindi po ako ngayon nag-question ng budget. Kaya lang, nagsawa na po ako kasi wala nangyayari na outvote ako. Nagkaroon lang ako ng pag-asa nung pagkatapos ng SONA kasi si mismong presidente na ang may gusto ng budget reform, Your Honor.
Rep. Toby, pagkatapos ng small committee, ito na yung basis ng HGAB na hindi na makikita ng ordinaryong congressman. Yun na sinasabi mo.
HGAB na po ang makikita nyo. HGAB na po ang makikita nyong kopya.
Na hindi nagkaroon ng pagkakataon yung regular congressman na makialam doon sapagkat yun po ay tinrabaho na ng small committee.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Continue. So,
Are we supposed to ask?
meron tayong
Yeah, but
sinusunod.
are we supposed to ask Congressman Toby before
Okay,
yung regular
okay.
ano natin? Ano ba ho yung process?
In connection with the
Yes,
question
in connection
okay.
with the disclosure.
Proceed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congressman Toby, typically ang budget, diba, sinacertify yan as urgent. So ina-approve on second reading and third reading in one sitting.
Yes, Your Honor. That was the basis of my objections earlier on, noong 2011, 2012, 2014. Hindi mo na ibig sabihin, pag sinertify urgent, ang nangyayari po noon, Your Honor,
Wala nang 3-day rule.
wala na 3-day rule. Tsaka hindi mo na makikita. Di ba? Inaprubahan mo muna yung, Your Honor, yung third reading, tapos tsaka mo makikita yung kopya ng
Ang punto
HGAB.
ko, ganun ang practice, di ba? Every budget season, dahil certified as urgent, in one sitting, in one day, ina-approve yung budget on second and third reading in one day.
Yes, that I don't know if all congresses that I attended kasi nawalan na nga ako ng pag-asa noong after 2015 kasi kahit questioning ko bakit one day, wala naman. I think in one budget season, pinadala naman yung kopya, hindi ko lang alam kung ano year, pero on the same day, since certified urgent, ay aaprubahan. Kaya nga ang naging ano ko doon, explanation of vote, sabi ko nga doon, and it's in the records of the archives of Congress, Your Honor, sabi ko nga doon, paano naman babasahin yung ganyan kakapal o even hanapin yung ano in one day?
Yeah, but naintindihan ko sa'yo, you're saying na even after the approval on second reading, tapos ng period of amendments, di ba? Approval na on second reading, pwede pa mag-amend.
Yes, Your Honor. We approve on second reading, pero nagbigay kami po, before, Your Honor, before we approve on second reading, binigyan namin ng authority yung small committee na palitan kung ano man yung inapprove on second reading.
Hindi, pero pag inapprove on second reading, yun na yun eh.
Yun po yung point ko
Diba?
ever since, Your Honor.
Ibig sabihin, pag sinabi ko yun na yun, from NEP all the way hanggang annexes, approved na yan. Lahat ng maliliit na project doon, approved na yan.
Your Honor, that was the basis of my questioning ever since.
Kaya nga natapos na yung period of amendments. Diba? The period of amendments, doon tayo mag-a-amend lahat ng mga line item. Pero after period of amendments, pag nag-vote na tayo second reading, tapos na yon. Correct? It's only for review, in 3-day rule, for review na lang yon.
Yes, Your Honor, tama po kayo. Kaya lang nga, only for the budget, nagkakaroon ng ganon. Yun nga po yung sinasabi ko, Your Honor. Parang binigyan mo ng blankong cheque, yung apat na tao, na sila yung magbago nung inaprubahan ng plenaryo. So sabi ko nga po, Your Honor, paano naging mas powerful yung apat na tao kaysa doon sa inaprubahan ng plenaryo, Your Honor?
Pero para sa akin, yung pagtapos ng second reading, nag-a-amend pa, parang that's not the usual practice. Kasi pag nag-approve ka ng second reading, kasama na doon yung amendments.
Tama po kayo, Your Honor. Kaya nga, sabi ko, sa lahat ng batas na ginagawa, no touch pag tapos ng second reading. Yung BICAM, kasi po, binigyan ng authority yung small committee, yun. Kaya, pwede nilang galawin after BICAM. But, Your Honor, I got a commitment, Sec Mina was there on the first day. I got a commitment that they will not do it anymore at this time.
I hope at second reading, pati na yung mga attachments, tapos na.
I hope. Kaya nga sabi ko,
Dapat ganun. Pati mga attachments, tapos na. In other words, bago matransmit sa Senado, kasama na lahat ng mga attachments, pati yung mga projects.
yes, Your Honor, kasi sabi ko nga, for the record, ulitin ko, hindi ito yung unang pagkakataon na question ko yung budget process. At nawala na talaga ako ng pag-asa na walang mangyayari. Kaya lang, nung nadinig ko yung SONA, since this is the first time na yung Presidente po, Your Honor, ang nagsabi dapat baguhin yung budget process, may pag-asang baguhin yung sistema na yun. Kasi, Your Honor, independent po ako ako laging labas eh. So, i-outvote lang ako, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Para hindi maiwanan si Governor Dolor, kanina usapan natin na in connection with the testimony in relation to Mindoro Oriental, total nandyan na po kayo. Ano po ang pwede niyong i-contribute sa committee na nabanggit po ang inyong probinsya, Mindoro Oriental?
Mr. Chairman, good morning po. I traveled 7 hours from my province using the land trip, the Roro, another land trip, the whole night traveling to
Bago
Bigil.
kayo magpatuloy, siguro po ay sumumpa muna kayo, Governor. Si Rep. Toby hindi na namin pinasumpa because may interparliamentary courtesy po kami. Pero kayo po ay...
If it's necessary.
Mr. Chair,
Director General, please administer.
Maybe you can also request the other resource persons to stand up and have their oath administered by the in order for us
The
not to
resource
waste time.
persons who have not yet administered their oath have not been administered siguro.
Si Kong Toby is exempted siguro.
Those who are here for the first time. Kindly.
Those who are here for the first time, where are those resource persons?
Kindly raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding? Thank you. You may take it.
Okay, now proceed, Governor.
Mr. Chair, may I be permitted to present a very short presentation so that you will have a context of what truly happened in the province as a microcosm problem in the Philippines. Pwede po ba akong payagan? Minuto lang po, Mr. Chair.
Oh, sige, okay.
If I may, Mr. Chair, kung ready na po yung slide, kanina po kasi hindi pinapayagan. Mr. Chair, Mindoro Island is situated at the heart of the Philippines. And ang una po ay nagpapasalamat po kami. I have 4 letters para sa inyo ngayon, 4 words. Nagpapasalamat po kami, Mr. Chair, dahil sa liit ng probinsya namin, we were given this much. From 2022 to 2025, we were given a total from DNEP around 12 billion. Pero nung lumabas na po sa GAA, 30 billion. Total insertion po is 17,820,439,000 as far as flood control projects are concerned, which are 25 million and above. Ulitin ko po, we did not include your other projects which do not include flood control. Kaya lang po yung pagpapasalamat namin, sino po ba naman probinsyang di magpapasalamat na ganong kadaming pera, napalitan po ito ng panghihinayang. Well, during the Senate hearing in the past, you were discussing about existence or non-existence of a National Flood Mitigation Master Plan. Oriental Mindoro has one. In 2019, we have a Regional Development Council endorsed Flood Mitigation Master Plan, which is a product of several studies conducted by foreign bodies, even local experts, and the provincial government of Oriental Mindoro. It was duly signed and endorsed to DPWH in 2019. Kaya lang po, ang amount po niyan more or less is 12 billion to solve the totality of the problem of flooding. We have already received more than 30 billion. So kung sinunod po yung flood mitigation master plan ng probinsya, more or less sana, solve na ang problema. Kaya lang po, tingnan nyo po yung nangyari, 2012, 2022, baha, 2023, baha, 2024, 2025, despite the presence of more than 30 billion flood control. Bakit po? This leads to the third P. Panlulumo. Bakit po nakakapanlumo? Mr. Chair, simula pa lang po may mali na. Una, di akmang disenyo. San po kayo nakakita ng flood control, pero dinisenyo ng DPWH na parang gumagawa ng boulevard? Ano po bang gustong gawin ng DPWH? Boulevard for tourism purpose or flood control? 20 meters na lapad na kalsada, tapos lalagyan ng konting semento sa kanan, konting semento sa kaliwa. As early as March 6, 2023, I called the attention of DPWH and all the contractors. Pinatigil ko po yan 1.5 months. Sabi ko po, you are doing something for my province, you didn't even consult us. Sabi nila, ang drawing daw po ay ginawa to solve the flooding. Pinatigil ko po for 1.5 months. And honestly, Mr. Chair, sinabi ko sa mga kontraktor na yan at sa DPWH, pag namatay ako after this at pinapatay ako, kayo ang nagpapatay sa akin. Because we are talking here of 4 billion pesos in 2023. After that, gumuho na po ng 2024.
Mr. Chair, Governor, sino yung contractor na yan?
Pangalan po ng kontraktor, as early as 2023, ang tanda ko lang po ang isa, SunWest. 2025, Mr. Chair, ito na po yung nangyayari. Baha, baha, baha. Sabi ko sa kanila, ang provincial government gumawa ng gabyo noong 2014. 40 million, 600 meters, existing hanggang ngayon. Sang dekada, 40 million, almost 1 kilometer. Pero existing. Yung sa DPWH, pakikita ko po mamaya yung difference. Ang pangalawa po, di na akma ang disenyo, overpriced pa. Balik muna ulit. Sabi po sa unang interview ng DPWH, 1 billion per kilometer. That means 1 million per linear meter. Mr. Chair, ganito ko kaikli, 1 million ang halaga. Second po, binago po nila nung sunod na interview, ginawa pong 700 million per linear meter. Overpriced na, substandard pa po. Ito po ang pangatlong problema. Tingnan nyo naman po ang nangyari sa mga dike sa Oriental Mindoro. Bakal, maliit pa sa daliri ko, sa hinliliit. Sabi na, stain masonry, walang bakal. Gumawa po ng dike, na yan po ang itsura ng pagkakasimento. Ang gitna, puro lupa, puro buhangin. All projects, makikita nyo po.
Okay, that was the third day, no, or third time of the ongoing probe into the government's anomalous flood control project.
Second sa Blue Ribbon.
Lang ba? Sa Blue Ribbon.
Sa Blue Ribbon,
So it's
second.
third na.
May isang Congress naman.
All right, so in a rare instance, we saw Congressman Toby Tiangco in the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee citing some of the proposed budget by Zaldico, Congressman Zaldico.
And also, it's the name of this other congressman, I have to check my list, also discussing yung nangyaring mga projects sa province niya, mga substandard projects. So it's a combination of the budget and at the same time approval of insertions or sa mga flood control projects binubusisa ng mga senador right now.
That's right. Now, the Senate Blue Ribbon, as we mentioned earlier, committee resumes its investigation into alleged irregularities in flood control projects. And for the latest, we have mobile journalist Merimon Reyes on the ground. Merimon, aside from mga nakita namin, ano pa yung mga pwede mo mag-contribute dito sa nangyayaring Senate Blue Ribbon Committee? Pang ilang araw na ba? Di ba third na?
Angela, Diego, magandang umaga. Tama yan, ito na yung ikatlong pagdinig ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. At bukod dito, yung mga contractor din na ipinasabpina ay present na rin dito. Kasama na rin dyan ang asawa ni Sara Diskaya na si Pacifico Curly Diskaya ng elite, pati si Maritoni Miligrito naman ng elite general contractor, maging ang ilang mga opisyal ng DPWH na sina dating Assistant District Engineer ng Bulacan, First District Engineer Bryce Erickson Hernandez, pati si Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office Construction Division Chief JP Mendoza. Paliwanag naman din kanina ni DPW Secretary Vince Dizon sa pamamagitan ng isang sulat na hindi daw siya makakadalo sa pagdinig dahil una, ongoing yung mga proseso, yung budget briefing din ngayon sa Kamara patungkol dito sa 2026 budget ng DPWH at kinakailangan niya pa ng oras para raw din mapag-aralan ito at asikasuhin yung iba pang urgent matter ng ahensya. Sa pagdinig naman, unang ibinahagi nga ni Navotas City Congressman Toby Tiangco na hindi lang daw sa BICAM magagawa ang budget insertions, kundi doon mismo sa House Small Committee na binubuo ni Zaldico, Stella Kimbo, Manix Dalipe at Nonoy Libana na responsable sa mga budget insertion nitong lumipas na 19 Congress. At hindi rin daw siya, sinabi niya on record, hindi rin daw siya makakapaglagay ng insertion sa national budget na hindi rin daw siya bahagi ng BICAM. Kanina, medyo binanggit niya nga rin daw na bakit parang mas may kapangyarihan yung 4 na miyembro ng House ng Small Committee kumpara daw doon sa BICAM kasi pagdating doon sa approval ng budget after daw ng second reading, pupunta rin daw ito doon sa Small Committee tapos pagkalabas daw on third reading, halos hindi na rin daw nila ito mababago, yung grammar na lang daw, punctuation marks and such. And even ito naman si Oriental Mindoro Governor Marlito Dolor, binabahagi niya rin ngayon yung mga questionabling substandard flood control projects at yung parang maliit lang yung probinsya nila pero malaki rin daw yung budget na nakuha nga nila. At paliwanag naman ni Senator Erwin Tulfo sa presensya ni Congressman Tiangco dahil hindi raw ito nakakapagsalita o pinagsasalita sa Kamara. Binigyan daw siya ng pagkakataon, inimbitahan daw siya dito sa Senado para makapagbahagi ng kanyang masasabi patungkol dito sa maanumalyang flood control projects. At alinsunod naman sa lookout bulletin na inilabas ng Bureau of Immigration kung saan ni-request din ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee na masama si Congressman Ferdinand Beltran. Sagot naman dyan, paliwanag naman ni Senator Tulfo, ni Senator Erwin, kaya raw kasama sa bulletin, sa lookout bulletin itong si Beltran, dahil meron din daw itong construction companies. At inaasahan din natin na sa mga susunod pa na oras, susulitin talaga nitong mga senador yung pagkukwestiyonan sa mga resource person. Balik sa inyo.
Merimon, ano ang sa pagkaalam mo na ina-inform ka, ano magiging goal nitong hearing today? Kasi mukhang tinutuon nila mismo is the side of yung budgeting sa legislature, no? Will they also talk to yung mga ibang district engineer and contractors?
Oo, Angelo, marami pa talaga silang kailangang i-cover na basis dito kasi bukod dyan, gusto rin nila na magkaroon na rin ng mas malinaw na pagpapaliwanag mula din naman doon sa Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board, doon sa mga butas nila pagdating sa pag-i-issue, pagre-renew ng licenses. Ina-expect din nila na anytime soon may ipepresenta naman ng Commission on Audit yung kanilang fraudulent audit highlights tungkol dito sa flood control projects. And even itong mga district engineers sa part ng resource persons, yung iba pa dyan, may mga allegation nga at kinonfirm na nagkakasino nga raw sila and sangkot din sila dito sa maanumalyang flood control projects. Tas ngayon naman, ito na budget insertions, so magiging malaman ang mga pagdinig hanggang sa mga susunod pang linggo.
Yeah, before I let you go, Marymon, kasi babalik tayo sa hearing, no? Tanong ko lang si Alcantara ba nandyan, this former district engineer?
Yes, Angelo, nandito siya. So far, may isa lang na DPWH engineer na hindi pumunta at ang pagpapaliwanag niya dahil daw nag-resign na raw siya August 27, tinanggap daw ito August 28 ni dating DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan, kaya wala siya dito. Pero sabi ng committee, mamaya na raw nila aasikasuhin itong absent na engineer.
Alright, thank you for that, mobile journalist Marymon Reyes.
Now we'll be back. Babalik ka
Correct
tayo.
ko lang sarili ko. Tama ka, 3. Kaya ko lang hindi naalala yung una. It's because yung una, wala sila sa Aradiskaya. Kaya nag-issue sila ng warning tsaka ng request, di ba, ng supina. Yung second, yung nandun na sila.
Nandun na
And now
sila.
today's the 3rd.
Yes.
Tama ka, as always.
Yes. Babalikan natin yung hearing, no? But for now, we'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. Good morning. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. The Blue Ribbon Committee's 3rd hearing on alleged anomalous flood control projects is now underway. Let's continue to listen in.
Kung sino na nanalo sa project. So hindi ko alam kung sino na nanalo. Then nung dumabas yung top 15, that was the first time tinanong ko sa DE, bigyan mo ako ng listahan nung sa mga sino nanalo. Kaya meron akong listahan. Okay. So sana pagbigyan naman ako na depensa ko naman yung sarili ko, Your Honor.
Proceed.
Yung nabotas. Tapos sinasabi po nila na ang laki lagi ng flood control project sa Navotas. Your Honor, mas siguro kasalanan ko kung hindi malaki ang flood control na project sa Navotas at iba pagawa dahil binabaha po talaga kami at below sea level kami. Ano naman gagawin natin, Your Honor? Okay. First slide. Next, please. Yan po. For the record, transparent, I am showing, I requested 1.26, wait ha. Ang request ko po, Your Honor, gagamitin ko na po ulit yung salamin ko. Yun. Your Honor, for the record, I requested 1.269 billion na madagdag po sana sa aming NEP. Okay, next slide please. Next slide. Yan po, 1.269 billion. Yan po, sinasabi po na in-insert ko daw yung 592 million. Hindi ko po in-insert yung 592 million. Yung 592 million, yan po ang na-approve. 529, sorry. 529 million ang na-approve ng, yan po ang na-approve sa BICAM. Nahandyan po, for transparency, makikita nyo, proponent, yan po ang format, proponent, congressional district, contractor. Okay. At yan po yung status ng proyekto. Pinagawa ko po yan sa DE yesterday, Your Honor. So makikita na sinasabi, dito sa 529, meron daw ditong St. Timothy at Sims. Yun po ang sinasabi. Makikita po, doon sa 529, wala pong St. Timothy at Sims. Okay? Next slide, please. So hinanap ko po, nasaan ba yung St. Timothy at Sims? Yung St. Timothy...
So still a
Alright.
committee hearing. You are hearing Congressman Toby Tiangco discussing yung accusations sa kanya na supposedly nag-insert daw siya. Hindi naman daw siya nag-insert because that's already an approved budget.
All right. So again, this is the third probe into the government's anomalous flood control projects headed by the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee headed by Senator Rodante Marcoleta. Okay.
Right, President Bongbong Marcos vows accountability and promised that an independent commission will investigate the anomalies in flood control projects. Here's the report.
In a podcast interview, President Bongbong Marcos turned emotional as he spoke about corruption in multi-billion peso flood control projects.
I'm not disheartened, I'm not disappointed. I get very, very angry. How can you do this to people that have worked every day of their lives? Walang ginawa ito kundi magtrabaho. Nagsakripisyo ng mahirap for very little. Just to be able to send money home, just to be able to feed their family, send their children to school. That's all they want in life. Kukunin nyo pa sa kanila yon para bumili ng Rolls Royce. Nobody is more important than Filipinos. Nobody, not one person is more important. Not me, not anybody is more important.
Marcos revealed that more than 12,000 reports of questionable infrastructure projects have reached his office through the Sumbong sa Pangulo website. He said the complaints covered not only flood control, but also road widening and paving projects.
We started talking about only flood control. Pero siyempre, nagkaroon ng tao ng line of communication sa akin na para makapagreklamo sila, ginagamit talaga nila. That has been very effective.
The president slammed those who enriched themselves at the expense of ordinary Filipinos. Marcos assured the public that the independent commission will be empowered to investigate anyone regardless of political ties.
They have subpoena powers to investigate anything and anyone. Otherwise, then what they will have, they sasabihin, may sacred cow na naman, o may pinoproteksyonan dahil kasama sa politika, whatever. Pagka nangyari yun, wala rin kabuluhan yung kanilang investigasyon.
He also stressed the need for new mechanisms and possibly legislation to curb corruption that he said has been entrenched in public works for decades. For News 5, Marisol Halili, We Are One News.
Now, this is the fourth podcast of the President, and during that interview, we've seen some of the clips na teary-eyed siya, doon sa tanong sa kanya, doon sa sinabi niya na hindi dapat daw priority ang mga Pilipino. Not anyone, not him, but the Filipino.
Well, dami nag-react online, pro and against, for the other side naman. So, to be fair, sinasabi nila, well, sana he also addresses what happened during his father's era. Diba? Not to take that away. Yan ang sabi ng iba, diba? Because if you want full change, you have to address also the past that has happened, para klaro na. And then, on the other side, it's good that we have a president now who is focusing on cleansing, finally, outwardly, corruption in the Philippines.
This deeply rooted systematic corruption.
I don't think it's now what you call the parang it's norm. It's the norm. Parang normal na sa tao which is wrong.
So ang maganda dito, antayin natin yung kanyang independent commission that will be composed of a justice, a lawyer,
may forensic accountant. Investigador. Investigador kaya si General Torre.
Tingnan natin but this one naman, itong
No one in
independent
government
commission, sabi niya no one in the government, and of course ang magiging ang end goal nito is to recommend.
Recommendatory power.
Recommend lang yung filing of cases doon sa makikita nilang magiging, kung sino man yung magiging involved doon sa kanilang investigation.
Pero powerful yan kasi kung may final naman sila, may final decision na sila kung ano yung nangyari, they could easily come out in a press conference and tell them sino ang may sala.
That's why I've been telling you this, na at the end of the day, importante pa rin na maganda tong ginagawa, may mga investigation, pero at the end of the day, yung merong accountability talaga, merong makakasuhan. At importante din, crucial din, yung ma-appoint na ombudsman ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. But in other news, Batangas 1st District Engineer Abelardo Calalo denied the graft and corruption charges filed against him by Batangas Representative Leandro Leviste. Here is a report.
So kung gusto niyang patunayan na hindi po siya nag-cover up sa mga contractor, mabuti kung pangalanan niya ang mga contractor na ito.
That is the challenge of Batangas 1st District Representative Leandro Leviste to Batangas 1st District Engineer Abelardo Calalo, who recently got arrested for alleged bribery. In his counter affidavit, Calalo refuted Leviste's allegations and called his arrest a twisting of truth and part of a political agenda. Calalo argued that the money he gave to Leviste is not bribe money, but rather a donation from contractors who load Leviste's programs in his district. The congressman is quick to react and claimed that Calalo omitted in his counter-affidavit that he named another contractors and many others who were ready and willing to send support.
Inaamin niya, nangolekta siya ng pera sa mga contractor para ibigay sa akin. Sabi lang niya, donasyon ito, pero ang pera naman ay may kasamang resibo. At kung sinasabi niya na may political agenda ang pagbubunyag na to, then I would like to think na ang agenda po is linisin natin ang DPWH 1st District ng Batangas.
Leviste also confirmed that he met Calalo twice in the past but only discussed about ongoing and future projects in his district. He also hopes that there is no attempt for a grand cover-up, as it was brought to his attention that the same lawyer is representing Calalo and the Bulacan District engineers involved in the anomalous flood control projects.
I don't know what's behind that, but it was just brought to my attention that Attorney Raymond Fortun is the lawyer also of the Bulacan District Engineering Office.
Mobile Journal Arles de Los Santos, We Are One News.
Don't go away because we're not done yet. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching News and Views here on One News. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, or CBCP, urged the return of stolen funds from anomalous flood control projects, saying restitution is essential for justice. In a pastoral letter, CBCP President and Caloocan Bishop Cardinal Pablo Virgilio David denounced the anatomy of corruption in public works. He stressed that accountability should extend not only to contractors, but also to lawmakers, district engineers, auditors, and political patrons involved in the system. David also urged Filipinos, especially the youth, to take an active role in fighting corruption by exposing wrongdoing, rejecting patronage politics, supporting independent probes, and demanding accountability from leaders.
In other news, thousands of examinees took the first day of the 2025 bar examination at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila. Supreme Court Associate Justice Amy Lazaro Javier said more than 11,000 examinees participated, the highest number recorded in history. Many candidates turned to prayer and personal rituals for luck. The examinees will return for the remaining exams on October 10 and 14.
Keep going. Success is not a product of just one decision or one action. It's a series of decisions to show up and do your best. I want my babies to keep fighting till the end and win this challenge.
Teams Tunisia and Iran have arrived in the Philippines for the FIVB Men's Volleyball World Championship. Mobile journalist Denise Valdez-Sancho has the report.
Pool A teams Tunisia and Iran have arrived late in the evening last Friday, September 5, all set to compete in the prestigious FIVB Men's Volleyball World Championship.
But we are excited and we are happy to be here in Philippines, and we will discover the World Championship in Philippines. So we are very excited.
Ranked world number 43, powerhouse African team Tunisia will face the debuting hosts on the first day of the World Championship on Friday, 4:30 p.m. without star spiker Wasim Bentara. But the 11-time African champions remain hopeful.
Okay, we do good preparation in Tunisia. We play some friendly match. So we are ready to be here and to fight in our colors. I hope to do our best and do a big fight to improve our game.
The star opposite hitter admitted it's not going to be easy playing against the Philippines in their home soil.
We know that Philippines playing with the supporters, so I think it's a very good thing for us also. And for this reason, we are excited to improve and to play a good game.
Meanwhile, another foe of Alas Pilipinas, Asian powerhouse team Iran, was greeted by volunteers and supporters. World number 13 Iran goes missing without its star Amin Esmailazad due to an ankle injury from a training camp in Doha. Team Melli remains loaded with talent, anchored by Murtaza Sharifi, Amirosin Esfandiar, and Ali Hajipur. Mobile journalist Denise Valdez-Sancho. We are One News.
Filipina tennis star Alex Ayala has made history, winning her first Women's Tennis Association singles title at the Guadalajara Open in Mexico. The details in this report by mobile journalist Denise Valdez-Sancho.
A few weeks after her historic campaign at the US Open, Filipino tennis star Alex Ayala returned to action at the Guadalajara Open in Mexico. She advanced through tough opponents and capped her run by claiming her first Women's Tennis Association or WTA singles title, rallying past Hungary's Pana Udvardy. Although Ayala entered the match as the higher-ranked player, Udvardy took the first set 6-1. Ayala regained her rhythm in the second set, winning 7-5 after a fierce exchange of shots, and carried the momentum into the third set to clinch the championship 6-3. After the match, she thanked supporters and posed for photos with Filipino fans in attendance. President Bongbong Marcos also congratulated Ayala and pledged continued support for Filipino athletes. Following the win, Ayala climbed to world number 61 in the WTA rankings. She is now headed to Brazil to compete in the Sao Paulo Open, where she will participate as the third seed.
Carlo Acutis, a British-born Italian who died of leukemia at 15, became the first Catholic saint of the millennial generation in a Vatican ceremony presided over by Pope Leo XIV. Now, Acutis used his computer skills to create websites that promoted his faith. Pope Leo XIV canonized Acutis alongside Pier Giorgio Frassati, a young Italian known for helping those in need and died of polio in the 1920s. Speaking to thousands of young worshippers in St. Peter's Square, the Pope hailed both as inspiring examples of holiness and service. See, so kung may skills ka talaga, at bata, kahit bata, matanda, di ba, you're able to serve the Lord properly, di ba? Eh, pwede mo naman gamitin mo yung talino mo tsaka yung galing mo sa tama eh. Hindi naman na laging proyekto na hindi nag-exist ang ginagawa eh.
Nakakatawa dyan kasi nga, yung background niya, gamer siya, video gamer, tapos he created nga a website that would document all the miracles in the world. Tapos, meron din ako nabasa about him na nung nag-aaral pa siya, nalilate din siya sa mga pagsasubmit ng mga homework niya, yung mga assignments niya. So, talagang typical, typical teenager.
Millennial
diba? Oo, millennial siya. Tapos, meron kasing, and I was also reading about him, merong tatlong, di ba, to be able to be canonized, di ba?
Ano yan, stages You have to be beatified and canonized.
Oo. So, meron siyang tatlong miracle that was documented sa kanya. The first miracle attributed to him was the healing of a 4-year-old Brazilian boy with a severe pancreatic malformation, leading to his beatification by Pope Francis in 2020. Hindi ko alam pero this is connected to him, no? Kasi etong miracle na to is always dapat connected dun sa tao.
Yeah, kasi the church naman investigate.
Yes. So, the second miracle was the recovery of a 21-year-old Costa Rican woman critically injured in a bicycle accident. Pope Francis approved his canonization, but following the Pope's passing, the ceremony was postponed. That's why si Pope Leo na gumawa. Then, nakita ko din yung ibang mga videos and reports. Ang dami ng Pilipino na nag-attend nung
So, para malinaw,
nung canonization.
Si Pope Francis ang nag-approve ng pag-canonize.
Yes.
Just that, of course,
when he passed, diba, na-postpone yung ceremony.
Yeah. So, ngayon, si Pope Leo ang nag-canonize na.
Yes.
Wala bang
the first millennial saint.
Wala bang saint na, Gen X?
Wala pa. Wala pa yan.
Wala pa? Generation ko?
Gen X. Okay, nasa isip ko yun.
Gusto ko malaman kung may saint na Gen X. Ikaw kasi millennial.
Millennial
may saint na kayo,
kami, may saint kami.
Kami mga Gen X baby boomers, madami.
I remember the first news about Carlos, alam ko 2020 na pinag-uusapan siya.
Oo. Galing. Really an inspiration that if you put your mind and heart to doing good things, kaya mo gawin yun.
Exactly.
And one of the highest rewards pa is your soul in heaven, di ba? So,
and also, we would like to congratulate Alex Ayala.
Ay, oo.
Diba? No way but up. Sa batang to.
Another youth.
Filipino pride.
Another youth that's putting her skills to good. Di ba?
Yes.
Thank you.
Kabataan na tumatalima na dun sa sinasabi ni Jose Rizal, nagiging pag-asa ng bayan.
Okay, wag po kayo tutulad ng mga gumagawa ng ghost projects na nanakaw sa bayan. Bad example sila.
Exactly. But tune in pa rin dito sa One News because we'll be airing the ongoing third probe of the Senate, diba? Senate Blue Ribbon Committee into the government.
And I see on the monitor, before we let everyone go, that Sara Diskaya is speaking, but they can watch that after we sign off and then continue with the Blue Ribbon Committee hearing. And that wraps up today's episode of News and Views.
Join us again tomorrow. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
I'm Angelo Castro III. We are One News.
All sides, all the time.